Hi everyone, my name's Charlie and I've helped over 150 people win their PIP claims and I receive PIP myself. Today I'm going to go through everything about PIP and how you can win, obviously if you're entitled to it. This is my YouTube channel and this is an updated version of this video here, how to win. I did this video a year ago. I have learned so much since then. So I'd say even if you've watched this one, there's going to be a lot of new information in here, a lot of really helpful tips. Before we get into everything, I need you to remember that this is your life. It's your claim. You have to be comfortable with everything you do about it. So when you watch this video, if there's anything you don't agree with, just ignore me. It's completely your choice, okay? So who can claim PIP? You need to be over 16, obviously living in the UK. You need to have at least one condition that has really impacted your daily life for more than 3 months and will continue for at least another 9 months. There is a lot of misinformation out there about PIP. It doesn't matter what condition you have. It doesn't matter what medication you have. That is not what PIP is based on. PIP is based on how has your current daily life been impacted by your condition or conditions. So what if you were? That's fine. Again, it's not about anything other than how does your condition or conditions impact your daily life? What if your partner earns a lot of money? What if you earn a lot of money? It's not relevant. What if you drive? It's not relevant. What if you've got pets? It doesn't matter. What if you've got young children? It doesn't matter. If you are over the age of 16 and you have a condition that has lasted for more than 3 months, will last for more than 9 months, and your daily life has been significantly impacted, and I'll go through the level of impact later on in the video. If your life has been severely impacted, you're entitled to claim this funding. It was designed to keep us independent and to try and keep us in work. If you're at end of life, if you've been given, for example, 12 months to live, the DWP is stunning, and I mean stunning, but very quickly putting this funding into place for you. You don't go through assessments when you have that level of evidence. So if you are in that position, I'm so sorry, but this funding is available to you and you just need to call them and explain. PIP is split into 2 parts. So the first part is daily living, and then that's split into 10 activities: preparing food, eating and drinking, managing treatment, washing and bathing, using the toilet and incontinence, dressing and undressing, speaking to people and understanding, reading and understanding, mixing with other people, and budget decisions, money. The second part is mobility, which is planning and following a journey, and moving around, which is walking. So for each section, daily living and mobility, if you receive between 8 and 11 points, you're entitled to receive the standard level of funding. If you receive 12 or more points, you're entitled to enhanced funding. So this is the government site, and this is how much you could receive. So the lower rate, which is the 8 to 11 points, the higher rate is 12 plus points. PIP is tax-free. If you are entitled to PIP, which I'm going to go into more detail so you can figure this out, once you receive PIP, it is life-changing. For example, with the mobility section, you could then get a blue badge, which again is life-changing. There's funding in London for transport. There's funding for car tax. Depending on if you need care, you could then receive carer's allowance. But more so, I would say the 2 massive areas, blue badge, but the other 2 areas is it's the only way that I'm aware of in the UK where a government body will confirm the severity of our health issues, which when it comes to our mental health is massive, because most of us have invisible illnesses, which is a blessing and a curse. The other massive benefit of when you receive the PIP funding is it reduces how much we feel like a burden. It's like a weight off your shoulders. Without my PIP, my life wouldn't be like this. I wouldn't have been able to stay in my own home. PIP's the only funding I receive. If I hadn't had PIP, I would have lost everything and I would have had to claim every benefit there is out there. It is life-changing. It massively helps keep us in work if you are physically able to. It's currently May 2025, and the Labour government have put forward what I'm calling the 4-point rule, which means in the daily living part of PIP, if you do not receive 4 or more points in one of the 10 activities from 2026 for new claims and reviews, you will not receive the funding. Now, the Labour government are saying they're going to do this. It is not written in stone at this point. There are many people, activists, MPs, people like myself, trying to fight to get this stopped. Because if they implement this, there will be loss of life. It will force people into poverty. There's loads of us that will lose our jobs because we use the PIP funding for transport. So many of my clients use their PIP money to pay for transport to and from work because they can't drive, they can't use public transport, and they can't walk far enough. It will totally fuck up people's lives. So I'm just going to show you the petition. You go onto my channel, onto like the most recent video, and you go into the description here. You'll see the petition. We need 100,000 signatures and we need MPs on board. So there's a lot of MPs that are fighting for us, but we need to keep the pressure on. So it's simple: first name, surname, email. If you want to hear more, or if you don't, you can remain anonymous and just click to sign the petition. Then you get an email which you just need to confirm. That's it. And then to share, if you go to the bottom, you can just share on all of these. If you could do that, that'd be amazing. And then it's really important that we get our MPs on board, that we email our MPs. So if you could do that as well, that'd be great. I'm not going to go into more detail because I've got loads of videos on it. For any type of assessment we do, any sort of test, anything like that, it's normal for us to study. It's normal for us to understand what it is. For example, your driving test, an exam, or something like that. We need to know what we need to focus on. Well, when it comes to PIP, the points is the be-all and end-all. This is all the assessors are interested in, is understanding, trying to figure out where you score within their assessment. So it is critical that you understand your life. Now, when I say that, some people will watch this and think, of course I understand my life. No. Chronic illness, we block. We do not want to be sick. We do not want to be applying for this funding, or that's my experience when I work with clients. None of us want to be sick. What we want is to be better so that we can get on with our lives. Chronic illness sucks. Most people, when going through this process, screw it up because we've adapted to living with chronic illness, so you don't realise how much your life has changed, or we block. We don't want to admit it, and when we talk about things, we talk about past tense. The amount of times I work with clients and they're like, yeah. I go, do you go to the supermarket? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right, okay. When was the last time you went to the supermarket? And they're like, 2 months ago. And I'm like, right, PIP is current daily life, and you have to be self-aware. Okay, this is very, very difficult. PIP is so invasive. It is very, very difficult to face the facts about our lives, which is just upsetting. And then put it on paper and then verbally explain it to a stranger who is judging you. It is very difficult. So when I say you have to be honest with yourself, it's not simple, okay? Which is why you're watching this video. So let's have a look at the points. Now, I'm not going to go into major detail on this because that is pretty much what I did in this video. In this video, I went through the points in detail. So I'm just going to give you an overview. Again, this is the government points. This is not mine. This is the government points. You need to understand where you score. Okay. Now, I'm going to explain this one because most people screw this one up. Most people will say, I can't prepare food, I'm 8 points. And I would say for at least 90% of the people I talk to about this that say that, they're wrong from a PIP point of view. So there are many of us that are not safe to prepare food. This 8 points, it's for people that have had a severe stroke, or for people that have a level of autism where they are not able to piece together tasks. They are not safe to be in the kitchen. That's what the 8 points is. For the rest of us, they need to be able to understand, are you able to prepare a meal if you used an aid? For example, if you sat on something, or if we've got hand issues, if you used a chopping aid, or those aids for opening things. Are you able to use a microwave? Do you struggle with your mental health? Is it that you wouldn't prepare a meal unless you're prompted or encouraged by someone? Or are you just not safe? Have you started fires in the past? Are you a danger because you've left things, you've got distracted, you've got severe ADHD? Is it that you need someone to assist you? It's challenging to figure this all out. So that's preparing food. Taking nutrition is eating. So this is eating and drinking, okay? So using an aid is, chunky cutlery like what I use, or, cups with the handles. Does someone cut your food up for you? And again, this cutting the food up, it could be that you now only have meals like shepherd's pie, like curry and rice, that does not require cutting because you avoid it because of your hand pain or your fatigue, for example. So I'm going to stop on giving all the examples on this because you can watch the other video, okay? Otherwise, we are going to be here for days if I go through it all in this detail, okay? And we've got so much more to cover. Managing therapy is about how long someone or people spend monitoring you, supporting you, assisting you, okay? And it's the time that they're interested in. Washing and bathing. Are you a shower or bath person? How do you manage this? How often do you do it? And again, don't forget, this is current daily life. Toilet. Now, this is, are we wearing pads? Are we leaking? Are we flooding? Have we got explosive diarrhea? How are we managing it? Dressing and undressing, communicating. If you can say your name, your conditions, your medication, your dosages, you're not going to get points for communication. Okay. Reading, are you able to read and understand? Engaging with people face to face. This is pretty much strangers, and it can be family that you're not with all the time. Okay. Making budget decisions. Do you understand money? This does not mean that you have no debts. This does not mean that you only make good decisions with money. This is, can you understand what money is used for? Do you manage your own money? So then we're on to the mobility. A lot of people think the mobility section is purely physical. This isn't. Planning and following a journey is also potentially points for people with severe mental health conditions, depression, anxiety, because it's about, are you able to go anywhere unfamiliar on your own? Can you go to familiar places on your own? Are you able to plan? Okay. And the final one is moving around, walking. Okay, this is all about distances. Okay, so I'm no good at numbers, so I have to do this in buses. 50 meters, just take the 0 off, and that's how many buses it is. So that's 5 buses. If you go onto my channel, click on any video, go into the description, click on a video. My name. Just press pause. Oh, look at me, looking glamorous as always. Go into the description, go onto the website. In here is how you can book me, access to Instagram, etc. Right, so into the website, in free stuff. So in here, this one, pictorial walking distances. So look at this. So this will help you figure out how far you can walk. Like 1 meter, can you walk more than the length of a guitar? 2 meters is like the length of your bed. Are you able to walk that? 3 meters, 3-seater sofa. 10 meters, the length of a double-decker bus. 20 meters, 2 double-decker buses. 50 meters, the length of a football pitch, or 5 double-decker buses. I struggled with one of 200 meters. 20 double-decker buses. So on here, there is all sorts of free templates. Okay, all the free stuff. This is also available if you're not sure if you're entitled to PIP. This test will tell you. Okay, and this test, there's so many questions on it, and then we have to go through it and look for patterns in your answers to figure out if you're entitled to it. So this is available, and you can obviously book me, and I've got testimonials and everything on here as well. By the way, there are other tests available, right? In my opinion, I don't think they're very good, which is why I spent a year working on mine. Okay, it is really good. I do have videos on specific conditions. which was requested by you. Now, I don't agree with those videos because PIP isn't about specific conditions. It doesn't matter what condition you've got, it's how your daily life is impacted. Doesn't matter whether you've got one condition, 30 conditions, doesn't matter what medication you're on, nothing guarantees PIP. But I think people are finding them helpful because in the videos, I'll go through the points and go, just focus on this, ignore this, or I'll explain, like, in this section, no points. So you could try and use those as well. And obviously, I've got videos on specifically on claim forms, review forms, mandatory reconsiderations, tribunals. You could check out the channel because I'm giving everything away for free. Yes, I've got a consultancy, but I'm very limited due to my condition on my availability. So I'm just trying to give everything away for free so that you, as many of you can do it yourself. And thousands of people are using these videos and doing it themselves and winning. Okay, it's possible. You can check the comments. Now we're on to the actual forms, specifically claim forms and review forms. I'm going to come on to mandatory reconsiderations and tribunals later. First of all, do not use the envelopes they provide. If you're doing it online, fine. If you're doing it old school like me, I like pen and paper. Do not use that envelope, send it recorded delivery, because they lose a lot of them and they save a lot of money. For example, if you're doing your review and they don't receive the form, they'll just stop your PIP funding. Okay, do it recorded delivery, sign for next day. They don't like that, but it's so we protect ourselves. If you're struggling to get your form complete, you can request an extension. This is normal. It happens a lot. You just have to give them a call and explain why. For those of you in Scotland, it's called ADP, and you have a different type of form or booklet. You have a really amazing booklet. I do have a video on that as well. This video, PIP new step-by-step form. This video here, this one, has 126,000 views. Okay, so I did that video a year ago. This is the newer version. Okay, so it's only got 18,000 views because I think we all do the same, don't we? We look for the video that's got the most views. This is the more up-to-date one, and this guide is stunning. So if you're doing a claim form, watch that. Yes, it's 3 hours 10, but if we click on it, look at this. Hi everyone, my name's Charlie, and so if you look here, I split it into sections. So this one is eating, okay? Managing therapy. I designed it so that you can come back to it. Not like, I'm not thinking you're going to do the whole 3 hours, 10 minutes in a wanna. You can do your bit on washing and bathing. And then you can come back when you've got enough energy or you're in the right frame of mind. And then you can go on to the next bit, toileting. So it's all broken down for you. Again, this video is really good. Really good guide for claim forms. When it comes to reviews, there are currently 2 forms out there at the moment. I'm going to do a video on the new form. I'll just show you what it looks like because I haven't got the video done yet. Normally on the forms, they just give you eating and drinking and blank piece of paper. They have changed this, so this is more like the way they do it in Scotland, and I do think in Scotland it's better. It really keeps you focused. Do you use an aid? Look at how little space that they've given you to write in. That's it. Most people write a novel, a fucking novel, when they're doing their PIP forms. People only take in 10% of the written word. You've got to cut the crap. You've got to get to the point. Do you need prompting? Yes or no? If yes, what do they do? How often do they do it? This layout I love for the claim form as well. We've got to cut the shit. Currently the claim forms, you just get a blank piece of A4 paper. It's too much space. It encourages you to write more and more that is not relevant. Do you need help from another person? Yes, what do you need? Now they have put prompts here, like cutting food, putting the food into your mouth. But if you understand the points, let's just go back to the points for eating. Using an aid, we've already talked about that. We've already talked about prompting. Oh, sorry. Assistance to be able to cut up food. Loads of us with hand pain, we're not cutting up food. What does someone help you with? This bit I don't like on the review form. Tell us why and when these needs began. What I tend to do with my clients is we will, and you might not get this form in the review, you might get the old version. What we will do is work out when we diagnosed and approximately when, like the year or how long ago was it you needed to use chunky cutlery. So this is the layout of the new review form. This is the old form. So for each of the activities in PIP, it's literally got has something changed and approximately when, how you manage your activity now, including aids, and any changes to the help you need from another person. Now, if you're doing a review, Don't just write no change, okay? In the past, that's what I used to do, but with all the government changes, you need to reiterate what your life is like and link it to the points you were given, and then reiterate what your life is like. Again, you've got 3 sentences, cut the crap, be blunt. Now, I've worked with over 150 people. Every single time I work with someone, they say something to me that I've never heard before. They describe something in a way that I've never heard before. Now, I do not, and I will not, put any of the examples on social media, because it's unique to you. There is no right or wrong way to explain something. You just have to use your words, the way you say something, the way you explain it. Your claim is unique to you. This is how they can tell whether people are telling the truth or not. Like, there's so much detail. There is so much detail. I don't know how people do manage to lie, because we're talking about everything from how you clean yourself after a bowel movement to pushing the microwave. It's so much detail. It's very invasive. I don't know whether, because I've only worked with over 150 people, I don't know whether when I've worked with 1,000 people plus, that then I'll start hearing some of the same things again. But have confidence that this is your life. It's your claim. Explain how you feel and how you manage things. That is how you win, as well as being blunt. Cut the crap. You've got to get to the point. Okay? It's very difficult. Even I, in my own PIP stuff, especially on the assessments, it's so difficult to shut up. Just say the important bits, because you're thinking, oh, what about this? Do they need to know that? Should I say this? Should I say? We'll come on to the assessments. I get it. It's difficult. Okay? I get it. Right. Another very important thing. You know when you get a warning that you've got to pee, and if you don't do it quick, it's gonna leak. I've got to do that. Oh, okay, I'm back. Had a really good wee. You know when you have like a wee and it's really satisfying? It was one of those ones. Okay, this is really, really important, and I'm trying to not say that too much because so much of this video is critical. Oh, what am I going to say? Fucking brain fog, eh? I made some notes because this video is so big. I was like, what's important? Right. Okay. What I'm about to say, most people don't seem to agree with, right? So I'm gonna justify why. And if you Google this or you use like AI, remember that the AI has to, its knowledge is based on what's online. Okay? Because so many people are giving the wrong advice, AI will give you the wrong advice about this. And that is, when you talk to when you do the assessors, when you do the form, should you talk about good day, bad day? What approach do you take? So many people will say, only talk about your bad days. This is wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's going to fuck you up. Oh. I'm going to explain to you why it's going to fuck you up, right? Everyone I work with, I give them a code name so that I can try and recall information about them. So as I used to work with so many people now that I have to really work on it. What was I saying? Right, code name under caution was advised by Citizens Advice, which is the organisation that DWP recommends you speak to. Advised by Citizens Advice, only tell them about your bad days. Loads of people will advise you of this. This is not what I advise. So that's what she did. She's been placed under caution because they have evidence of her going out. Now, when a lot of us have bad days, we're either trapped in the house or we're bedridden. For example, my bad days, I'm bedridden. I am not talking. My brain is not working. I'm in too much pain. You don't see me filming like that because I'm not fit enough to film. If you only talk about your bad days, like when we are bedridden, that means that every time you go out, it proves that you're being fraudulent. Does that make sense? I know that I'm one of the few people saying this, but I promise you, I'm right. Okay. I work with a lot of people that suffer from severe anxiety, paranoia, etc. And even my clients that don't suffer from those conditions, we are always honest. Honest. My approach is we say on average. So for example, you are well enough a few times a year that you might go to a cafe for lunch. Few times a year. You might go out with your children or your grandkids to feed the ducks twice a year, right? That's fine. So all we would say, but most of the time, you're housebound, you only go out for appointments. That's exactly how we would word it in the claim form, in the forms, and during the assessment. So we would say something like, and obviously this is depends on what your life is, okay? So it'd be something like, on average, I for planning a journey, right? And mixing with people. On average, I go out once a month when I have a doctor's appointment. On rare occasions, three times 3 times a year, I wish it was more. I might go. I will try and go to a cafe for lunch. Rare occasions, 3 times a year. Okay. Now, what I've started doing in the past probably 6 months is I am putting that information in with clients. We are putting it in. So the clients I work with, they do not have to feel paranoid about anyone watching them. Because look, for a lot of us, PIP funding is life changing, but it's not comfortable being on it. Okay. Because a lot of people view those of us that receive the funding as Conservative Party think we're scroungers. I have a lot of haters. When I talk about haters, which I'm trying to reduce how much I talk about them, I'm talking about the people that think that I am not sick. That as far as they're concerned, their version of someone that is sick that should get PIP is someone that is, this is really harsh, but trust me, this is what they think. It's someone that's in a wheelchair, non-verbal, dribbling. That person is entitled to PIP, but someone like me, well, obviously I'm not sick. And I get that I didn't know until YouTube. Like for the first 10 years of being chronically ill, I was so angry. Why didn't people get it? Why couldn't people understand how sick I am? When I started YouTube, I was like, "Huh, not, not only do I not look sick a lot of the time, sometimes I look healthy. I had no idea what I looked like. So to get ahead of the uncomfortableness of being on this funding, we're just transparent. We do on average, and if there are rare occasions we go out, brilliant, we clarify it. Okay, you've got to be honest. I cannot express, if you understood the trauma that Codename Under Caution is going through. It's the only case I've worked on like that, and to be honest, I've had to say to her, you need a solicitor, because it is out of my experience levels. The way that she's been treated is fucking horrendous. The fact that she is still alive is a miracle, and thanks to the support of her family. You don't want to be in that position. Now, for those of you watching this that are like, I knew they'd be watching, no. The number of fraudulent claims is less than 1%. Okay, so all the haters that are like, oh, everyone's lying, it's less than 1%. The DWP are very thorough. Okay. And for anyone's like, oh, Charlie, you're setting it up so people can lie. The amount of detail that they go to is, and again, it's not my job. That's the DWP's job. So when I say to people about this uncomfortableness, the DWP tends to investigate people with cause. Okay, so if someone contacts them and says this person is not disabled, which does happen quite a bit because most of us don't look sick. For example, I was told about a case where someone turned up in work clothes, construction work clothes, in a work van for a PIP assessment, said that they couldn't get dressed, let alone do anything else. And then they left the assessment, got back in the work van and went back to work. They got investigated. When they investigate, they do check social media, they will check Facebook, they will look. Another case was someone was saying that they weren't fit to do anything, but they're playing football 4 times a week. Fuck yes, they should be investigated. I fully support the DWP investigating us. And there's mutterings about them wanting to check our bank accounts. Fucking check my bank account. I have nothing to hide. If they watch me, it's going to be really boring. If you're not sure of your averages, if you're like, but Charlie, it's variable. It depends. I know that. We know that. And the PIP assessors hear that so often. Well, it depends. It depends. They know. We know. Conditions are variable. Pain levels change. Fatigue levels can change. Mental health changes. That's why you've got to work out your average. So let's go to the website again. Oh, look at me looking glamorous in my pajamas. Free news. Oh yeah, the newsletter's for free. I try and do the newsletter every week. Okay. Yes, we want to go to the site. Right. In free stuff, hang on a minute, where am I? Yeah. In free stuff, this tracker. Let's just download this. Download. Okay. So I track my pain levels and everything. So this tracker, let's have a look at the example. Right. So there's a key. Where's the key? So for pain and fatigue, I've got a key there on how you're feeling. So pain, if it is an 8 or a 9, you're going to hospital. 10 is we're dead. Okay. Then and you can download this and adjust it for you. Okay, because we're all different. We've all got different things going on. So you figure out whatever you need. Okay. So I track my AM pain levels, my PM pain levels, and AM and PM is whatever's going on with my body, because sometimes I sleep weird, or my AM might be 2 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. I don't know, because my body it depends on the arthritis. Pain medication. So this is where I track the number of pain meds that I take. Did you prep a meal? Were you prompted? Did you get dressed? Did you just have a wet wipe or a flannel wash? Were you incontinent? What level of incontinence? Did you bath? Did you shower? Did you go out? Whatever else you want to track. And they do like these diaries. Okay. So once you've submitted your form, whether it's a claim or a review, nailed it. It's going to be a couple of months before the assessment. Your PIP journey, if depending on how much you want to be treated fairly, if you want to stand your ground and receive the funding that matches your life, so if you do claim, assessment, mandatory reconsideration, tribunal, it could take a year. Okay, I have some people that it's taken them, the worst case was 2.5 years. 2.5 years it took. That is the worst I've ever known. This is not something that happens overnight unless you are terminally ill. It is a long process. I work with people for a long time. Like when I work with clients, the goal is for them to fly the nest. Okay, so it's educating and empowering so that they don't need to book time with me. That's the whole point. That's why I do all this free stuff. Yeah, it's so that you can do this yourself. But it's we're in for the long haul. So mandatory reconsideration, when you submit it, it can take 2 to 4 months. Tribunal, once you submit that, you could be waiting 4 to 6 months at least. Evidence is critical. And I'm going to talk you through one of my templates. Now, I do have other videos on this because, again, we can't go into too much detail because otherwise we're going to be here for days. I didn't realise there was a little search thing on specific channels until doing this video. Okay. Right, these 2 videos are really good. They're worth watching. On the website, in the free stuff, evidence template. Really, really good. Whatever level of PIP you're at, wherever you are in your PIP process, you need to produce this evidence document. Now, in the DWP system, if you send a piece of paper, it goes on a separate tab, a separate page in their system. So say, for example, you send 20 pieces of evidence, that's 20 different tabs. Humans naturally cut corners. The staff that work for the DWP are overworked. They're rushed. They haven't got time to look at all that shit. Okay. With the evidence, we produce one document, which is one tab. So your claim form or your review or whatever it is will be one document. Your evidence will be a separate document. One tab, one tab. That's it. They've only got to look at two things. We need to make their lives easier. And this template goes with the other videos that I showed you as well, okay? So pink, I hate pink. I don't like it at all. So this is me talking to you and for you to delete, okay? Yellow is the code that I use when we need to do something. So every document that you send needs your full name and national insurance number on. So this is additional evidence. So we keep it simple. So preparing food. So for example here, due to severe arthritis, I cannot stand for long, so I have to use a chair when preparing meals. Keep it short. Don't forget you've written on your forms. So this is very short. This is not a novel. Or you could literally say, here is the perch chair that Occupational Health gave me. Or here is the perch chair that I use. Keep it blunt. And this is an image from Google, right? Or where is it from? Yeah, Able World, right? Do not, this is ridiculous. Like, this is clearly not someone's actual home, okay? If you've got OCD and you're cleaning all the time, brilliant. Do not set up the photos you take. Again, this is your life, your claim. Keep it real. You've got to keep it real, okay? You need to prove it's your home and your equipment and that you haven't just brought it to try and get points, because that's just obviously bullshit. Don't be embarrassed. This is our lives, okay? And this is confidential. If you use any aids like this for taking nutrition, this is my favourite cutlery, I call it happy caterpillars. You can get all sorts of different stuff like these. Managing therapy. So the pill pot. So I've got this with my happy cow, my Scottish cow on it. It makes me happy. So with this, I say, take a photo of your pill pot and a box of medication. Don't photograph all of your medication. A box of medication with your name and address on it, just so they know it's truthful. Okay. Washing and bathing. So again, I wouldn't take a photo of just the seat that you sit on like that. That's obviously from Amazon. Take it in the shower. Show what your life is like. This is all we're doing, is proving what our lives is like. Now, you might be thinking, well, people could just buy this stuff and then get PIP. No, you can't. It doesn't matter whether you're using aids, your condition has to match that severity. There has to be medical evidence that our condition is that bad. Okay. Some people have steps, handles, if you've got handles. So the handles, it doesn't necessarily need to be a posh handle. It could be you're hanging onto the towel rail, the radiator, a windowsill, whatever. If there's anything that you are using to make things so you can do things, that's an aid, okay? Or equipment. So the toilet. So this one, quite often, we've all got different things that we hold on to. Some of us have got the frames around the toilet. Some of us wearing pads, using bottom buddies. So I'd take a picture showing the toilet and whatever you use, okay? And then you can just explain it here. Getting dressed, if you're using a sock aid or the button thing. Reading, it doesn't matter if we wear glasses, like able-bodied people wear glasses, but some people have to use magnifying glass if they're like blind in one eye or got eye situation. Right, this bit is really important. Now, let me just show you these videos first. So if we search for GP on my channel, right, I had a very big shot, and I'm really glad 40,000 people have watched it, because I was working with a client, we were doing a mandatory reconsideration, working on evidence, and actually, let me come back to you. And the GP, when she requested her notes, which is free, you don't have to pay to get access to your GP notes. They sent her the form that the DWP did. So the DWP, you should give them permission to contact your doctor or specialist. Always give them permission. When she looked at it, they'd written down the person that it's supposed to be your doctor that writes the form down, but we know that we're not seeing the same GPs all the time. There wasn't even a doctor that did the form. And no, sorry, that was someone else. In this case, it was a doctor that had never seen her. and the doctor wrote down the wrong condition, it would have cost her her claim, because the condition the doctor wrote down was very, very mild. Her condition is really fucking severe and controls every single day of her life. This was a really brutal learning for me, which is why I've now changed the evidence. And it helps. I want you to put evidence from either your GP app, and the GP apps are all different, okay? Or your printed records. Again, you don't need to pay for either of these. Do not bother paying for a letter from your GP. I've never seen a good one. GPs are not trained to write in a way that PIP need, right? So it's just waste of money. Waste of their time, waste of money. Don't do it. So you need the diagnosis, and this is a good time to check that your records are right. I have experienced it where GPs, this happened once, a GP removed autism, the conditions list, because they said, well, there's no cure, right? But from a PIP point of view, there was no evidence of diagnosis. I've also experienced it where the active conditions, because sometimes it's called active conditions, active conditions was 11 years out of date. So, and I get from a GP's point of view, like it's an admin task, so right. You've got to make sure your conditions are on there and correct, okay? And it might give you a reality check on, this is a real problem, but you haven't actually spoken to your GP about it for a while. Now, like me, I don't work with my GP on my medical condition. I have two conditions, psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis. For the arthritis and the psoriasis, I work with my specialist rheumatology. That's it. GP isn't qualified to work with me, okay? They're general practitioners, yeah? Medication, again, either take it from the GP app, the current meds, or your repeat prescription, okay? I do prefer it from the GP records because sometimes repeat prescriptions have meds on there that you don't take anymore. This is to show current medication, not what you took in the past. I'm trying to not say this too much. Current daily life. I've had people before where they've sent me a load of evidence and they've gone back 15 years on the medication. So their thought process was, well, I want to show that I've had all this medication. No, it's about current daily life. If I listed all the medication I've had, fuck me, it would be a long list. No, current daily life. Okay. Other great evidence. If occupational health have allocated equipment to you, you must state it because it puts you in a different category. So I've been assessed by occupational health. They've given me equipment. It shows that a independent medical professional has assessed me and gone, well, she needs this, right? A lot of us shop on Amazon. So like my Zimmer frame I got on Amazon, and that's fine. But it does make a difference if it's occupational health, okay? If you're at hospital and they show you an X-ray or a scan, take a photo. Get your phone out, take a photo. Because when you get your medical records, you don't see it. They're not in there. So we just need to be braver and take photos. MRI outcomes, they love them. They love them. Obviously, if your MRI outcome says you're fine, then it's not relevant. Neuropathy tests, love them. If someone is already receiving carer's allowance, include the letter confirming that, because that is 8 points in managing therapy. Sorry, just while we're on this, you can see here, this is called the footers of the document. Okay, so to change this, you go insert, footer. I don't know if you can see that because I think I'm on the bottom right. Click on edit footer, and then you can just change it. And then you click close and it updates it on every page. Also, some people go, how do I get photos in here? So let me just show you. So let's do this. So on the laptop, there is a button that says print PRT space SC. Hang on a minute, let me show you. Here, this button here. See there, print the screen. That's the button, okay? Or that one. If you're helping your child that is moving from DLA to PIP, I would include the ECHP reports, but there is a very big difference in evidence for DLA versus PIP. I find that with children, they write the reports with hope. So they'll say, with training, should be able to prepare food. PIP will read that they can prepare food. So you need to go through your evidence and be really careful. But for the first one, I would include that report. Okay. Clinical psychologist reports are very good. Okay, very, very good. Especially PTSD, CPTSD. Specialist letters. So, for example, letters for joint counts. So, for example, excluding ribs and vertebrae, which I have it in, I run with 26 inflamed joints and 11 swollen. And one joint can give you fatigue levels of COVID or severe flu. So 27 plus 11 swollen is my norm, excluding ribs and vertebrae. My ribs are terrible. My neck is bad. That will, it says a lot, okay? Physio letters. Now, physio letters are only good if they include something like this. Range of motion, reduced range of motion. Now, you can't just go, like, I have a physio. My mum's just had a stroke and I'm having to use money for additional help. So I've had to stop with my physio, but obviously I want to start again. My goal is I want to be able to be fit in, even though I've got degenerative disease, I want to be able to fail PIP. I'm not sure if it's possible, but I'm going to give it a fucking good go. So you can't just book a physio and get them to do a report for PIP. It doesn't work like that. Any letters could be used in a court of law. They could be called into a court of law. So any medical professional will be very, very careful about what they write. The only way a physio will do a report like that is if they've been treating you, I would say, for at least 3 months. Okay, so don't think that you can just book with a physio and get a good report. It doesn't work like that. Rightly so. If you have a letter from a medical professional, look, the bit that we're coming on to now is probably going to stress some of you out. I've had clients before where they've had this much paperwork and I've gone, no, if we're lucky, there's going to be 5 to 10 letters in there that are good. And they're like, no, it's great. I'm like, no. So this bit's probably going to stress you out. But it is going to help you provide the right information. Okay, so just stick with me. If you have a letter that states fact, okay, fact, and your GPs won't want to do this. So if you have a letter and say, for example, COPD, and the letter says, became breathless as walked into the examining room. Stunning. Most letters will have she said, he said, they said. Shit from a PIP point of view is hearsay. We want facts. So, patient has 26 inflamed joints, 11 swollen joints. Fact. Patient has swollen discs, L4, L5. Fact. We need facts, not she said, he said, they said. Rubbish. Okay. And like I said earlier about the diary, but only include like 4 weeks max. Okay. So rubbish evidence. Now, some of you might be like, but Charlie, they say to include this. I have a theory. I think that they say to include something so you feel like you're in control and helping, when in actual fact, it's fucking pointless and it infuriates me so much. For example, they say include letters from friends, family, etc. No. Think Judge Judy, right? Judge Judy, court of law, because this is potentially where it could go, court of law, and a mum is there going, my son would never damage that car. It would never damage that car. Judge Judy straight away is not interested. People that are friends, are family, loved ones, it doesn't matter if they're qualified medical professionals either. I've had it before where they've gone, well, my sister-in-law is a GP, so that'll be good. No, she's your sister-in-law. Nope. Those in our lives, they're supposed to care for us, they're supposed to help us, which means that they will write what they think will help us. It's irrelevant. Don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. And I do think in the future they will remove that because it is a waste of time for everyone. And it gives you false hope. Don't do it. Trust me, I'm like, this evidence, I cannot tell you the difference it's making. And I'm not going to, there's been a few things happening and I'm not going to say it or put it on social media yet because I'm waiting to see, I want to see at least 20 clients being treated in a certain way before I think I'm confident enough to say something. But I cannot tell you how good this evidence is, how much it is working. Okay. Letters from your loved ones. Judge Judy? No. Evidence with hope. Hope. And it like should be able to. Like I've seen some letters that have been, oh my God, it's horrendous, where it'll say, with this biologic treatment, it will manage the condition. What the fuck? You don't know that. If a letter says that, all people do is go, oh well, great, with that treatment, you're going to be all right. Be careful. Be careful. Steroid injections. Like I've had, I get a lot of injections, jaw joints, into my ribs, wherever, those are my main areas at the moment. I don't include evidence of all my steroid injections. No, you just need to show, if you want to, you can. I would for steroid injections, I'd show that you've had them. But then there is the risk that sometimes they think, oh, well, then you're all right then. So I would show, like, for example, for mine, I put evidence, I took photos for YouTube of getting injections into my jaw joints and my ribs. So I just included pictures of that to show that, look, this is regular occurrence for me. Appointment letters. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, fucking appointment letters. Like, no. Now, I am sure that it says somewhere, I'm sure I've seen it where it says, include appointment letters. Why the fuck are they saying that? We go to hospital a lot. Do not include appointment letters. Don't. Unless you don't have any other evidence of a condition, or you want to show that you've been, say, for example, you're seeing a psychiatrist, here's my appointment letter, I'm waiting for another appointment. If someone, rare occasion that someone doesn't have evidence of a condition, we might include an appointment letter. It's hard. It is hard. Even for me, it is hard to go through the evidence and pick out the right bits. It's very time consuming. It's hard. So I've got a new rule. Only things from the past 3 years and current daily life. Then I might end up with, say, for example, past 3 years. And there might be something where I'll go, hang on a minute, we don't have enough evidence on this. Just do me a favour, which I've actually just done with Codename Savage, where I've gone, do me a favour. I know that it's the truth and everything, but just in case the doctor's looking at it, just see what you've got, even if you have to go back a bit, right? Try and do it that way. Current daily life. So it's hurting my jaw joints. I feel very passionate about this. Yeah, anything that says for a medical professional, he, she, they feel, they said, nothing is shit. It's rubbish. And that's what your GP will do. Do not pay for your GP letters. I've only seen, I think, one good one. Right. Evidence. Make sure it's got your full name on every page. If you're doing this document, please, it's better to do this document. Remember what I said about the way they store it in the system. So if you don't put it into Word, like using the pictures, yeah. So you could take a picture of a letter on your phone, email the letter to yourself, and then do that print screen and put it into this. If you send everything individually, remember it's all on individual tabs and they're not going to look at it. They're human. Okay. I know they should, but they're human. Keep a copy of everything. And I'm really sorry, I have a box file. I don't know where I'm going. A box file this big. Keep a copy of everything. Every form that you do, take photos of every page. Okay, you keep a copy of everything because consistency is key. Now, again, you might be, yeah, but Charlie, my condition changes. No, I know that. I know our conditions change, but you need to be able to look at what you've done. Now, this is a bit of a head fuck, right? Now, if you haven't got everything, don't worry. If you're like, oh my God, like, don't worry. Because we're being honest, again, it's hard to be honest with yourself, which is, again, why I've got that test. Which I call it the test, but that doesn't mean anything to you, does it? Which is are you entitled to PIP, right? Fuck, what was I saying? Yeah, because we're honest, you're all right. Okay. Now, what I discovered with Codename Under Caution was they went back to the very beginning. They went through every claim form and every review form and every assessment. Okay. We need to keep copies. And then when you do your review, for example, some of my stuff I'd improved on. So I was like, yeah, yeah, I'm so fit. I'm so fit. Why did I do that? Oh, fuck. I'm so excited about this video. I'm so excited because I haven't been well enough to actually film this because let's face it, it's a long video, isn't it? Um, but I'm so excited because I know I've learned so much, and there are so many. Obviously, this video is for you, the person that is chronically ill, or you, the friend, loved one that is helping the person that is truly chronically ill. If you are a faker, a liar, fuck off, get off my channel. This is not for you. I just know how life changing this is, and we're entitled to it. So I'm just excited. But I can't. Movements. Actually, let me just take some painkillers. By the way, for mental health, I always have like little things that make me happy. Right. Obviously, this is my. If you've been on my channel before, this is my favourite jumper. This isn't pajamas, although my pajamas look. I've got this in a pajama as well with a pocket in. What day is it? Sunday. Um, what was I going to say? I've just had a drink, but now I've stopped talking. My jaw pain is it flared. Okay, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. Oh yeah, sorry. I'm saying this is like my favourite top. It's very warm now. Um I'm going to try and treat myself to a couple of others. Um, in my newsletter, I do have this thing that I got so much pressure that people wanting to be able to send me a little something. So in the newsletter, I do have a link to an Amazon wish list, and I've put they're just pajamas. I've just accepted that this is my go-to clothing, right? So they're pajamas, but I've picked some different ones of these because every video I'm in the same top. I was going to wear something different, but I just want my comfort top on. You know what it's like. Yeah. Okay, let's get back. Focus, right? I'm checking my notes and I've realised that I have not looked at them for a while. Let's go back to the document and see where we were at. So I've forgotten. Yep, so we've done that. So this is just me saying a bit more about one document. Right. Okay. Okay. On the evidence, I am limiting you. I'm giving you a limit. No more than 15 pages. No more. That includes any photos, any letters, everything. No more than 15 pages. If you're like, yeah, but it's a bit... If you're going past 20, something's not right. Like, I've done tribunals, and I'm like, evidence is like, okay, I've done some heavy tribunals where actually I've probably gone to 30. But at this, if you're doing a claim, a review, try and aim for around 15. Okay? Yeah, actually, now I'm saying it. When I did the tribunal with 30, that was a long time ago, and now I would have cut it. I would have got it to 20. Tribunal, okay? Try and aim for 15. Again, this is your life, your claim. You do what you are comfortable with, okay? But just remember, humans taking 10% of written. 10%. So every time you're going, have I waffled? Obviously, I'm a chatter. Clearly, I'm a chatter. You've got to cut the crap. That's when I work with clients, they're so surprised on, God, you've just made it clear in like 2 sentences. And I'm like, yep. But I'm a chatter. And also it's about focusing on the really important bits. Before we finish on evidence, I've got a question for you. Is your pain under control? Is your depression under control? Is your OCD under control? Is your life horrendously impacted by your condition? Are you at the maximum capacity of treatment? Don't just say yes, because most of you won't be. When I work with clients, PIP is important, but what's more important is that we're not alone, is being able to talk to someone that actually fucking gets it. And it's good for me as well, like the boost that I get having a conversation with someone that gets it. So I feel less isolated. Um, but the amount of 70% of my clients will go away with action points. Okay. And well, all of my clients, I tend to give action points, and it might be try Sockade. You know, it might be something to do with their work. It might be something to do with they're worried about their children and social services getting involved. You know, it's PIP is there's so much to it that quite often when I'm working with people, we have something we need to think about other than just PIP. For example, mums with children and they're worried if they're honest, will social services be involved? And I've got a separate video on that. Okay. 70% average of my clients will then go back to their GP or go to their specialist and speak in a Charlie influenced, blunt, PIP way to them and have medication changes, have medication increases, because you deserve a reasonably good quality of life. We live in the UK, right? We should not be, the amount of people that I speak to where their pain is not under control. Not under control. They're experiencing 6, 7 out of 10 in pain. 8 or 9 is you need to go to A&E, 10 is dead on my pain scale. And I look at their pain relief and I'm like, or sometimes they're not even on pain relief. What the fuck? You need to have a bit more awareness. Remember that doctors are humans. GPs are overworked. The number of GPs that are being signed off with depression is high. Okay, number of doctors leaving the profession is actually quite high. They are human beings. You need to learn about your condition, and I don't advise the whole research unless that's where your brain works. What I do advise is if you're on a medication and you think, oh, I'm in so much pain, or like you're in so much pain you can't move, just Google what's the maximum dose for that medication. For example, I was working with codename AI Future the other day, and his meds aren't working. So he's got, let's say, 3 different types of meds for 3 different issues. Okay. This one, he was only on a loading dose. So the starting dose, which means that they're going to build it up. Starting dose. But he thought that was it. He thought that, this happens a lot. He thought that, well, once you've got that medication, that's it. And I'm like, no. You have to, a lot of medications we have to build up and find the right level for us. Have you done that? Are you doing that? You need to look into this, okay? So 3 meds. 1, he was on the starting dose. 1, it was about second level up. 1 was the lowest level you could get. And quality of life, unacceptable, as far as I'm concerned. Again, we live in the UK. We are so privileged. But for some reason, we're not educated enough to stand up for ourselves when it comes to our health. And I know that it's so difficult, like getting dressed is an achievement. Like the reason I've got my hairband on is because I haven't been able to wash my hair for weeks, months. Is what? I'm not sure how long it is. Well, I don't want to think about it. But if you see me wearing hairbands, it's because of that. If I do wash my hair, it's going to knock me off my feet. I don't want to. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to talk to you. But I am on the right level of medication because I've been through all of this. And for the severity of my condition, unfortunately, my life has limits. There's lots of us where, it's our future, or we have degenerative conditions, okay? But for many of you, you could get an improvement in quality of life with better treatment. Okay, so just have a think about it. So let's talk about the assessment. My second most disliked video is where I've said the assessors are lovely. Okay. Now, I do think that because the people I work with are prepared, and because obviously the people I work with, apart from two, no, apart from two, um, are massively entitled to PIP. Okay, so straight away, even before they start the assessment, they have the information. And then because they've worked with me, they're prepared, they're organised, and they're communicating clearly. I do think that helps. I really think it helps. It makes the assessor's job easier, and they can identify if someone's telling the truth or not, because they have a very short amount of time to try and figure out where you score. And are you telling the truth? Is this really your life? Are you entitled to this? In the assessment, it will be a conversation. Now, I made the mistake when I first did my PIP. I had all my paperwork set out, all in piles. I was ready. You will not get time to go through your notes. They will chat to you in conversation. Now, I am going to show you notes that I use, that my clients use, okay, that work very well, and I'll explain to you in a bit more detail in a minute. The person doing the assessment is not the person that gives you the points. It goes from the assessor to a caseworker. They review the notes, they review the evidence, they give the points. Then, for example, the review, it will be done by someone else. Mandatory reconsideration, done by someone else. As far as I'm aware, it's always a different person that looks at the case, so it's a fresh set of eyes. Please write this down. I know I say this a lot. Current daily life. When you're in your assessment, it's current daily life. Not could you do this, it's do you do it? Okay, what is your life? It is not what you used to do. A lot of people make the mistake, again, because we block, we don't want to be a burden, and we don't want to have to face the reality of how severe our conditions are. Okay, so a lot of people, when asked the question, do you go out? Oh, yeah, I whatever. But then when I work with them, I'm like, so when did you last do that? Oh, 2021. Why are you telling me that? Current daily life. I cannot express that. Current daily life. Promise you'll do it. I'm checking my notes, on what I've got. I'm trying to keep myself on track, and I'm checking my notes, and I'm like, current day. You honestly, because we don't want to be sick, you would not believe how much you'll flip. You'll just naturally flip in your head because we block. We don't want to be sick. Write it down. Current daily life. When you do the assessment, you can ask them to record it, but do not trust that, because I've experienced it many times where the recording failed or was technical issues. I've also experienced it where they have sent the recordings, but we can't trust them with that. Okay, unfortunately. So at the beginning of the assessment, when they do their introduction, I would then say, just to let you know, I'm going to record it because, and for whatever reason, like brain fog, anxiety, I'm just going to worry about it. So I just want record of what I've said. So long as you're not going to use it for social media, it's okay. You are entitled to record it, not film it, record it, audio. Okay. There's a lot of horror stories online about people saying about recording it. With everyone I've worked with, there's never been an issue. Okay, this is not an issue. Should you go in for the assessment? Now, all of my clients, we request a phone assessment, because if you go in for the assessment, so the government is saying about doing more face-to-face, but this is why I'm against it. Okay, when you go, first of all, our culture in this country, it doesn't matter whether you're Muslim, Sikh, whatever, doesn't matter. Our culture is when we're being assessed, we put more effort in, okay? Because we're being judged. I'm not going to turn up in my pajamas. I couldn't work face to face with people. I just couldn't do it anymore. I'm not well enough. And I'm always in a certain position on my desk, which is called heart attack position because of the severity of the arthritis in my ribs. So, but if I'm face to face with people, I try and look more normal. And again, it's an invisible illness, so they can't tell anyway. And the aftermath is horrendous. We hold ourselves differently. Everything's a setup. The walking distance to the room you will be assessed in. The chair won't have arms on it because they'll be looking at how you get up from the chair. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm fucking embarrassed when I have to and we're making sounds. Even though trying to do physio to build my fitness, to be able to stand without having to, like, we don't want to do that in front of a stranger. But if you get up from the chair with no problem, then you're fine. The door handles is a setup. The amount of doors you go through, the walking distance from the parking to the assessment, everything's a setup. A lot of females who aren't well enough to wear makeup going for the assessment will put makeup on. If you can put mascara on or something like that, that says a lot about your ability. It doesn't matter if it's the first time you've done it in 2 years. They're not gonna care. They're just gonna look at that. Have you got a handbag? Are you carrying the handbag? I cannot tell you how much of a setup it is. And I do not agree with it. I agree that we need to be assessed. Okay. I do not agree with the way it's done. I don't. It's so fucking invasive, and the way that some people do it, and some no, I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. So all of my clients, we request a phone assessment. So for most, remember, people do not book me when they've got a boo-boo. So because of the severity of their lives, we request a phone assessment. So say, for example, someone's got PTSD. So they're a ex-police officer with PTSD or CPTSD. So going out, there are so many triggers. Well, no, they're not going in for a fucking assessment. No, because the anxiety of just leaving their home is horrendous. So I mirror it to what their life is. And also, you can request the gender of the assessor you'd like. That's a reasonable request. They don't mind. I promise they don't mind. Especially if you've got to talk about gynae stuff, incontinence. I have many male clients that just feel more comfortable with a female, or if it's past trauma, like, it's absolutely fine. They are totally fine with it. So on your form, you can request this, not a problem. So what about having someone with you? Okay. Now, look, I'm going to be honest with you. If you've got someone that is anxious and waffles and interrupts, no, just don't fucking have them. It's just going to make it worse. Okay. When you have someone with you in the assessment, they are not allowed to speak for you. Okay. They want to speak to you. Now, I've got clients that are non-verbal, autistic non-verbal, and the assessor will go, "Can you pass the phone to them?" And it's like, you've seen all the medical records, but they still have to have the phone to go, "Is it right for your mum to speak for you?" Right, or on video like this, right? Okay. They're not to speak for you. Now, I was offering it to anyone, but I can't because I'm only offering it to current clients where we do practice sessions. And the reason that I've had to do that is because what I was finding is when it was someone that I hadn't worked with before, they just didn't know where they stood within PIP, right? Again, because it's such a headfuck, so I was having to do like a claim meeting with them to figure out what their life was before we could even do the practice session. Because otherwise, like when I was asking the questions, they were just scoring zeros, maybe 2 points. The way they were answering, I'm like, hang on a minute, something's not right. So then I was asking more, and I was like, so it'd take me 3 times as long to do it. So current clients, I do practice sessions, and if they have someone with them that is organised, good at notes, will follow procedure, that will get a step ahead of the trickery. Don't forget PIP trickery. I'm going to link to a video in a minute. Then yes, having that person there is brilliant. Sometimes people don't want family or friends there because even your close family might not understand the full details of what happened or how much it fucks with your head, or about being a burden. And then most of us end up crying in the assessments. I sobbed my heart out the first one, which jaw joints and ribs made it even worse. I couldn't stop crying. Before I started PIP, I thought I didn't have any problems going to the toilet. When I filled out that form and had to face the facts of my life at early 30s, I was devastated. Now, because I do this, I just talk about it, right? But then I was mortified. I was so embarrassed. One thing that someone with you is good for, so when I help people with assessments, what I tend to do is this when they're doing good, when I want them to stop talking. I cannot tell you. If you have someone with you, do these signs. You're doing good. And we'll show you the practice notes, okay? Yes. Stop talking. In my assessment, I did it. Because there's so much to cover, and you think, I need to say that, I need to say that, I need to. And then you're worried about trickery, because they do that a lot. Let me show you trickery videos. You've got to watch these videos, okay? Do you know what? It's thanks to some of you that I actually cut this video, because this video was from another one that I did, and I cut it because people said to me it made them laugh so much. I cut it and look, nearly 200,000 views. This is really good. Okay. Oh, did you see that? That's the practice. That's the practice notes for the assessment. Yes, this is very, very good. So these trickery videos, watch them. Okay. Um, all of them. Just watch all of them. Okay. I tried to keep them short. They're really important. So if you do have someone with you, they need to watch these as well because they need to be aware of the trickery. These videos are um, Ricky Gervais and the Minions. That doesn't look very professional, does it? These practice videos are very good. Okay. I know that I created them and it's like, oh, cocky much. No, when I say very good, I mean adds value. Okay. And there's not many things that I would say, oh, I'm good at this. Like geography, shit, maths, shit. So many things I'm shit at. Technical stuff, shit at it. But when it comes to these, they're good. I promise they're good. This is the hardest bit. The hardest bit. And when I work with people, I cannot tell you how long we spend on this. How does it feel? What does your condition feel like? How do you feel on the inside when you're mixing with people? What's going through your head when a stranger looks at you? How does it feel when you're having a panic attack? What does your pain feel like? Honestly, I spend a lot of time working with people on this. And it's like, what I do love about this is I love to problem solve. It's like a jigsaw. But you haven't got all the pieces. So when I start working with someone, sometimes like for pain, and I go, what does it feel like? And they're like, painful, sore. That's not enough. That is not enough information. Oh my God. Right. You lot, how do you feel? Tired. Tired? I'm telling you now, every fucking client I've worked with that has said tired, I'm like, when I'm looking at their conditions and their treatment and their life, and I'm like, because I make a lot of notes, right? And I'm like, tired is not how you feel. Tired is what an able-bodied person feels like. At the end of the day, they're like, oh, I'm really tired. They go to bed, they feel better. That's tired. Chronic illness, in my experience, doesn't make you feel tired. It's fucking exhausting. It's fatigue. It's horrendous. The feelings bit is very difficult, and it is critical because it is unique to you. Do the best that you can. Really dig about what it feels like. And do you know what's really hard as well? So my jaw joint's hurting. What's really hard as well is, if for those of you that have got stuff going on in your head, right? Whether it's depression, PTSD, paranoia, whatever it is, right? And someone looks at you and thoughts are going through your head. It's a bit heartbreaking when I do this, right? Because I'm like, I need you to tell me what just went through your head, what goes through your head, what really goes through your head. And then obviously we build up to this. I don't just start this at the beginning of a meeting. And then they'll say something and I'm like, is that the watered down version of what's going through your head? A lot of the time, yeah. Because people don't want to say what's really going through their head. And then I'm like, depending on what they've said, depends on whether I'll right, you know, what is going through your head? Because a lot of the time we don't get a long time to talk to people about our conditions, about our life, do we? So for a lot of people, having the opportunity to sit and talk about it holistically, this is what PIP is amazing for. Talk about everything, the whole thing, medication, conditions, how it impacts your life, everything. how you've become isolated, that we're a burden, we feel like we're a burden, or we are a burden. Um, it the amount of times that I piece things together, like those of you that have migraines, when you do this and you do the diary, the amount of times I can piece it together and go, hang on a minute, because we do averages of days. I can then be like, hang on a minute. So this is on average 3 days. This is on average 2 days. That's on average 4 days. So if I add the days together, and we'll figure things out. It's amazing. Honestly, this process it totally changed my life for the better. And for many, many, many of my clients, this is a major positive. Major positive for you and those close to you. Major positive. Do you know what my next action point is? Cut the crap and shut up. I've just been chatting. I've just been chatting, but I think it was good stuff. It's hard to shut up. Okay. Ooh, I don't think I've clarified this enough, right? So it's unique to you. I think I've said that. But I've helped over 150 people, right? And every time I work with them, someone says something I've never heard before. Every single time. And when they say things like that, I fucking write it down word for word, right? And then we use that in their form, because it's not Charlie says. Fuck no. It's not like that old Charlie says. No. It's for anyone that's younger. There used to be some sort of, was it a cat? Charlie says. Charlie says, look both ways before crossing the road. That sort of thing. It's not that. Like, your PIP is obviously unique to you. It's your terminology. There's no right or wrong way to say things because it's unique to you. Have confidence that if that's how you say something, write it like that. It's your claim, your life, your words. You don't need to be posh. I mean, let's fucking face it. Look at the state of me. It doesn't need to be posh. It's just got to be true, accurate to your life, current daily life, and just how you say it. Be brave. So let's have a look at the practice notes, okay? We're going to be quite quick because I know we've covered so much. And again, I've shown you the practice videos, all right? This document is 3 pages long. Sorry, my fingers aren't working. That is 3 fingers up. 3 pages long. That is it, right? I'm just going to make it smaller, okay? That is it. The red stuff is really important, what you need to remember. So this is an example that I've done, okay? So now this red, it changes with I've never ever put the same stuff in. It depends on the person I'm working with and what they need to remember that they keep forgetting, or that it's so obvious to them they just don't say it, okay? Now, how much, let's just take that out. I used to write a little note to people like, you can do this, and now I'm sort of leaving that off. Right, you see how much writing there is here? This is nearly too much writing. Okay, let's go in and look more closely. Assessment notes, right. So the blue is the activity. So you remember, daily living's got 10, mobility has got 2, right? Now, if it's bold and underlined, it's points. So, for example, and it's not that we're just trying to get whatever points. Again, you're painting a picture of what your life is. You are telling the truth, right? So this is what. So when the assessor will be like, can you tell me, do you have any issues preparing food? You'll be able to glance at this and go, oh, right. I have to sit in a chair because of my POTS. I get really dizzy. I can't stand for very long. I don't prepare full meals anymore. I just use the microwave. So what I would do I'd put 3 days. However, whatever it is, yeah, 3 days a week. What on 3 days a week? What do you do for the other days of the week? I'll order a takeaway because I just haven't got the energy to do it. Yeah. So it's in your assessment, you will only be able to glance and just look at keywords that will prompt you. Okay. And again, I use these. You only include the bits that are relevant. Like if you're not going to score points in money, just don't fucking have it on it. Okay. These red bits, let me come back to you. In the assessment, your anxiety, even if like me, you don't suffer from anxiety, your anxiety is going to be through the roof, right? Odds are you're probably going to cry. Even if like you're like me where you're actually really tough. I know that I've actually got quite a few videos crying, but I'm an ex-transport specialist in charge of hundreds of men. Like it was not acceptable for me to stop crying about something. You know, don't forget, like I did 25 years. So decades ago, there's still not many women in transport now. So if you showed weakness, that was fucking it. Um, but this sort of situation, it's awful. So we get emotional. That's okay. You've got to be honest. Everything we do is our nature to sort of be positive, to be hopeful. That a lot of people will say to me, yeah, but I want to be able to go out for lunch. Yeah, no, you do. It's current life. Okay. The challenge with PIP is not hope, it's fact. That's it. Fact. And what you'll find is because it's so nerve wracking, like sometimes in those red bits, I have to write pain. Because when you're getting questions and they'll be like, so why are you not able to have a bath on your own? It's so obvious why, but because it's so obvious, you're sort of thinking, because my fucking hips don't work. You know, um, but it's so obvious. So you need the prompts, okay, to keep you on track. And there's going to be curveballs. They're going to ask something you didn't expect that I've not covered in my videos yet because I'm trying to do really focused videos because of your time and energy, but I need to do a lot more on the assessments. Okay. If you have someone with you, make sure they've got that as well. So, sorry, really important. I know this is like near the end of the assessment bit. For your assessment, you will have my recommendation is that the assessment notes that I've just shown you and a document with your conditions. You know, on the form where you do conditions, date of diagnosis, medications, dosage, how often you take them, any side effects. You will have to go through that if you're doing a claim. Even though it's written down, they will ask you it 99% of the time at the beginning of the assessment. Okay, they will ask you it. So you'll have that so that you can just read it off, get that done as quick as possible because you want to focus on the PIP stuff. Okay, the actual points. Finally, last thing about assessments, the notes that they write are not going to match your life. Very, very unicorn rarely will they match your life. Prepare yourself for this. It's perfectly normal. They're not going to match your life. And quite often they say things that you're like, I never said that. I've experienced it where people are taking inhalers, they can't breathe, and the notes say, no problem breathing. They do not match your life. They will not match what you said. Prepare yourself for it. It is normal. Okay. What we're focused on is, have you been treated fairly when it comes to the points? That's it. If you suffer from anxiety, depression, you're going to completely ignore me. You're going to get obsessed about what was written. We're going to come on to that. The assessment's done, whether it's your claim, review, whatever it is, the assessment's done. It's normally 4 to 6 weeks until you get an outcome. Quite often people will find that they receive money in their bank before they get a letter. When you receive the outcome, you will get a letter with notes on it as to why they've given you the outcome. And you will get points. It will say points that will go preparing food, either 0 or whatever points you got. So say, for example, you get 2 points for using an 8. It'll say that, okay? Really nice and clear. It is a strategy to not give you the award you're entitled to, okay? They will quite often, so for example, someone's entitled to enhance, so they have 12 or more points in daily living. They might give them 11 and then hope that you don't appeal it. It's not personal, it's to keep costs down. That's it. I'm going to show you a video where I give actual examples so you can see that I'm telling the truth. This video here, oh, you see that spreadsheet there? Oh, yeah. This shows real examples of what people's life is and then the points they're rewarded. Okay, it's a really good video to watch. Even though I've done it specifically about what is currently going on with the Labour government, I actually probably need to change this video to how the points are awarded. I do truly believe that the caseworkers that assess the awards are monitored on how many they put through. I have clients, like for example, I'll give you a harsh example again about the non-verbal autistic clients, where they score 30 plus points in daily living, but they won't be awarded it. The amount of parents that when their children move from DLA to PIP, and the government remove the funding because now they're 16, they're fine. Ridiculous. That just shows what the points is like. Okay. If you believe you're entitled to PIP and you scored 0, there's a number of reasons why. You're probably not going to like what I'm about to say. One, you don't understand the point system and you waffled crap. 2, you're not entitled to it. And if you firmly believe you are and you're not sure, I have that test available that will confirm it. And also with the results you get the test, it shows you what to focus on to help you, stay on track. The third reason why you might have got 0 is that you don't fully understand your own life. So someone watching this might be thinking, Charlie, you're talking shit. Obviously, you know your own life. No, if you're thinking that, you haven't lived with chronic illness. Okay, you just haven't. Because again, we block. We don't want to face the reality of our lives. So it'll be one of those 3 reasons. I'm really sorry, but that'll be it. Okay. In my experience, in the end, we have to follow procedure. So we have to do mandatory reconsiderations, sometimes tribunals. In my experience, so far, the DWP treat people fairly. They do. I do have some clients where, because of the impact of their mental health, they don't want to continue to fight. So they'll accept the funding that they've got. And even though it doesn't match their life and they are entitled to more, they just don't want to fight anymore. Or they don't want to have to go to tribunal, which I understand. Again, it's your life, your claim. You've got to do what's right for you. So let's say you got some award, but it doesn't match your life because you understand how the points work. You've done a diary. You know your averages. You know what you're entitled to. What's next? So next step will be mandatory reconsideration. So this is either if you've done a claim or a review. If the outcomes change that you don't agree with, you do mandatory reconsideration, which is a posh way to say appeal. Okay. So let's show you the video to watch for that. Yeah. So this is how to write your mandatory reconsideration. That was a year ago. I'm definitely going to do another video on this, right? It's interesting because that's only got 23,000 views. Most people screw up mandatory reconsiderations. Statistically, not my stats, statistically, 70% of mandatory reconsiderations get declined. Now, I have proven that they don't read a lot of them. I've proven it. And the way that I proved it was I did the mandatory reconsideration on page 1. I put a photographic evidence that was points. Like photographic evidence of points. And they just sent out the template. And then once I did videos on it and I worked with clients, more clients, sometimes they found errors on the templates where they hadn't changed it from someone else's. Like it had the wrong condition down. It wasn't even for them. Okay. But we have to follow procedure. Okay. We have to do this. Now, you remember the evidence. Evidence is critical. So the evidence that you do for your claim, your review, or if you're doing mandatory reconsideration now, the evidence that you're going to do, you need to watch the videos on that. Say, for example, you're at claim, you submit the same evidence for your mandatory reconsideration. And I would be like, here's the evidence that clarifies your points. I was honest at all times. I don't understand what the problem is. Now, the reason why most people screw this up is, and this is the same in any industry. So I was a senior manager. So say, for example, someone's put through the formal process and they wanted to appeal it. A lot of people will go, I don't agree. And it's like, why? Well, because I don't agree with it. That is not how you do an appeal, right? You have to be specific. Now, again, everything with PIP, they are assessing us to the points. You have to focus on the points. People with anxiety, depression, paranoia will absolutely hyper-focus on what the assessor wrote. And they will just go for that. It's no good going, the assessor wrote this, the assessor was wrong, the assessor said this, it was a lie. Doesn't matter. What you have to do is prove your walking distance. Does that make sense? But again, with the conditions with depression, anxiety, paranoia, it's autism, It's like you cannot let go of it. Um, Now, some people have different approaches. Some people will take the legal approach where they'll just focus on that. But again, like for example, one client, the assessor wrote down they carried a handbag. They didn't have a handbag. All they kept focusing on was the fucking handbag. I'm like, at no point in the PIP assessment is it anything about handbag. It doesn't matter whether what they wrote is right or wrong. Can you bath or shower on your own? Do you use any aids? Are you able to walk? Again, everyone I work with when we do this, um, we don't focus on what was written because it is not your life. You have to focus on current daily life. Again, with the evidence that, again, please, if you're doing a claim, do the evidence at the beginning. So what I've done with a number of clients is we do the evidence. So for example, claim, evidence, mandatory reconsideration. But to be honest, we're starting to not even go to mandatory reconsideration because like my experience with the evidence is getting so much better. If we need to mandatory reconsideration, we just submit the evidence with the beginning bit of I don't understand, or I felt like I was clear, or sometimes it could be that nerves just get the better and I was crying so much I just didn't communicate clearly, and then we submit it again, updated. So say for example, if you've had a med change, we'll update it. Then for tribunal, for many clients, I've literally taken the mandatory reconsideration and put this much at the top going, I don't understand what more you want from me. Because we've got photographic evidence, we've got letters, I've been consistent throughout. And one client, it was amazing because he recorded his assessment. So what we did is we put the quote from the claim form, quote from the evidence, no, quote from the claim form, quote from the assessment, quote from evidence. Put it in mandatory reconsideration, send it to tribunal, done. He got the award, right? You have to be consistent. And those of you with ADHD, like I know, like that's literally an unreasonable request for you because your brain's thinking of 50 million different things at once and like potentially in a tornado. Those of you with anxiety, panic attacks, once you start this tornado in your head, it's hard to get off it, isn't it? It's hard. So in summary, how can I summarize this? I've been filming for 2 hours, 27 minutes. I've had breaks. Be consistent. Be honest with yourself first. Be blunt. Cut the crap. Just really cut the crap. Paint a picture of your life. And remember, if you are entitled to this, stand your ground. It will change your life.